5 wells in Africa. And so she was telling me today as we were talking about how things are in upstate New York. I'm sure y'all seen Mayor Cuomo on the news and everything, and she said she's one of those state workers can work from home. And we just began to talk, and she always called me Bishop, and she said, Bishop, she said, when this is over, say God's going to use your ministry in a way that you never dreamed of. She said, when you get ready to have that powerful revival, she said, I want you to know something. I'm going to support you financially. And then she starts saying, not only me, but God's going, all these places where you've been and you've touched people's heart in their lives, people are going to come and support your ministry because you got something to say to the people. And she just went on and on and on, and then she finally just cut it off. And see, when you ask God for a word, you would be surprised where the word can come from. Sometimes we think we ask God for something, and it's got to come from the archangel. But God can speak through just a little bitty. And that's why we miss God sometimes, because God can just speak through somebody that ain't no way that ain't God. Well, amen. That's when the Bible tells us, be careful how to entertain strangers, for some have entertained angels unaware. You didn't know who you were talking to. So when the Lord gave me that scripture and told me, don't be afraid. Because I say things, and I say things on the radio, and I don't draw back on what I say. Well, amen. When I look at the news, and I hear all these people talking, and the Anderson Coopers, the Comos, and the this and the other one, and Lemon and different ones, and the other news station, when they get 9/11 right, I'll be ready to listen to really wholeheartedly to what they're saying, because and when I hear people talking about Ebola, and then they compare this virus now with Ebola, well, Ebola was man-made. But nobody's saying anything about where this virus came from. But nevertheless, remember something. The Lord said in the last days it's going to be pestilence. And some folks so caught up in the virus. If some of y'all didn't know, in Salt Lake City, they had a 5.7 earthquake today. Then they had a couple more in California. And I was looking on the map when they were talking about California, and I saw Mexicali. I just told y'all the other night, a few years ago, I went to Mexicali, and I told y'all how the ground was doing like this. You'd be standing out there and you feel the ground go up on you, do this here. Well, Mexicali was part of this earthquake, but they had a 5.7 in Salt Lake City, Utah. And the Bible said in the last days there's going to be earthquakes. But he also said there's going to be a big one. That ain't the big one. What we're seeing now, and they talk about the St. Andrews Fault. People, let me tell y'all something. You keep playing around here acting a fool. It ain't about what you saying. You better make sure you have it right. Because the Bible said this world is going to reel and rock like a drunk man. So now, and then little sister called me from New York. She said, Bishop, I heard y'all got tornadoes. I said, well, that's out west. They ain't got this way. So they're supposed to run out. But here we got tornadoes, earthquakes, and we got a COVID-19, Corona, whatever they want to call it. It got 2 names for it, but they changed the first one, and they want to make fun of it. And Tom Hanks said, I made it back stateside, so he had his typewriter he take with him, and guess what? It's a Corona. But this ain't no funny thing. And if you notice something, even in the midst of all of what they're trying to do, we got a lying president. He lied so folk don't know what to believe. He tried to say, he's trying to say he knew it was going to be a pandemic from the beginning. He lied. I mean, anybody just, some folk can lie. Some people lie when they get caught in a lie. They say, well, you got me. This man lied, and he just keep on lying. And the people that's with him they keep lying. They're telling us all kinds of stuff. I saw where medical people are making their own masks now. And they, what is it? CVS and some of these other folks, they're going to work with the president, help us out. They had some masks on sale. I guess on sale. Masks that normally cost 58 cents, they sell them for $7 a mask. A mask that you put on your face, 58 cents, they sell them for $7 a mask. And people now, evidently some people stealing from the hospitals because the hospital supply is disappearing. So that workers in the hospital are stealing. That's bad when the hospital supplies start disappearing. And they don't have enough supplies in the hospital to do what they need to do because folks taking them home. And I hadn't been out, and I went to Kroger the other day for the first time. And it was really something. And the story was told how one lady had a basket of paper towel, and one lady wanted one roll. And they started throwing beads over paper towel. And you got a basket full, and all this person wanted just one roll. This is what you call panicking. And listen what the thing that make people panic. You don't really panic a lot of time if you hear something every now and then, because you get a chance to digest it. But when you keep hearing stuff, when you're bombarded with this, and if your media, they got all these commercials. Have you noticed the media, when they talk, they're leading people into conversation with the questions that they're asking. And people, some things are just common sense. When the stuff don't add up. Now, I'm not a rocket scientist, but when you tell me a virus has got to be transmitted, if it's going to be airborne, if it's going to be done by touch, it's got to be transmitted somewhere. All right? I mean, I know I got some educated folks here tonight. Now, we got had a man down in Balk Springs. He ain't been in touch with nobody. He ain't touched nobody. He ain't been nowhere. And he got it. How did he get it? And see, they say, well, we got, Dallas County got so many cases, we got this, we got that. But how did you get it? You can say, well, okay, by social contact. But really? And notice this, they say now, the more they test, the more cases. Well, that's automatically. I was talking to one of the members today, and they were telling me about how they had a cough and this and that, and they went to the doctor, and they thought they wanted to be tested for the virus. And the doctor told her, said, well, you don't have a fever, so you don't need to be tested. I've been putting out fires all day today, trying to encourage folk. People, listen to what I'm saying. The world, the medical field is not in favor of our God. You can say what you want to, believe what you want to. Look at the media. Look at the commercials. Everything you see about is what man can do. Nothing about God. Nobody said, let's have a day of fast. Nobody said, let's have a day of prayer. Let's just, as a nation, as a world, let's go. You know why? They don't believe in him. Last night we were watching Scyene, all this stuff, and then they had a commercial. Freedom from religion. Ron Reagan. He said, I'm a lifelong atheist, and I'm not afraid of burning in hell. I don't know what some of y'all been. This ain't the first time this commercial came out. This man been doing this commercial for years. They have an organization called Freedom from Religion. And he comes on, camera right up in his face, and he's smiling. He said, I'm a lifelong atheist, and I'm not afraid of burning in hell. That's his commercial. Now, they're going to give him airtime for that. When here we are in a crisis. But you know what? Man is of the impression that he can fix this by himself. Y'all remember a ship called the Titanic? They thought the Titanic was invincible. But the Titanic ran into an iceberg and it sunk. Well, I'm just saying. You know, man has always had this thing that made him feel like he was invincible. And then, number one, what the Lord is doing, if anybody's going to listen to me tonight, The Lord is preparing the world for what the mark of the beast is going to be like. He's preparing the world what the Antichrist is going to be like, because the Antichrist is going to be a man, not an organization. It's going to be a man, and it's not going to be one world government, one world church, as we've been saying for years. It's not going to be a religion. Can anybody hear me? The Bible speaks of a woman that sits on 7 hills. The Vatican sits on the 7 hills of Rome. And what the Antichrist is going to do, he's going to pay the Vatican back for what they did to their brothers, the Knights Templar. The Vatican is going to be burned. The Bible says the whole is going to be burned in one day. But he's not satisfied being in the Vatican. He's on his way to Jerusalem. And he wants to sit in the temple as God and be worshiped. It don't be about no religion. It's going to be about worshiping one man. And Donald Trump tried to give us a brief preview of what it's going to be like when one man can call all the shots and can't nobody touch him. When he can do whatever he wants to and everybody succumbs to what he is.
That's right. That's right.
But you got to understand something. This is not Donald Trump. It's the shadow government. It's those that's working behind the closed door, just like you got the 2 popes. Well, some folk need to, they need to come out of a shell and just read, study. Just everything ain't about this. This is telling the whole, this is the road map. But you got to go where the road map is telling you. We're being played as a nation because they're telling us about this virus. But look how the virus is spreading. And they're saying social contact is spreading it. But how did it get started? Nobody's saying anything. China's tearing their hospital down. They disassembled the last one. Now we're talking about building them. But you know what America is? And don't nobody get me wrong. America is a country that God has smiled on. America is a country that God has blessed. And we are one of the most sinful nations there is on the face of the earth. Because God has brought us from a long way as a nation. But our service to our God is unbelievable. You've got in America, America's a melting pot of all kinds of beliefs and ideas and ideologies and different things. People in America, you can find any and everything in America. You know why America has a dope problem? Because we got a dope appetite. We have one of the largest dope appetites of any country on the face of the earth. That's why they can load us up. That's why we'll go after anything. Just like they tried to fool folk about vaping. They say, well, vaping is going to be safer than cigarette. You don't hear that anymore. And now people are hooked on it. And see, once you get hooked on a thing, you got to find something to get you unhooked. Can anybody hear what I'm saying? You get a fish on the hook, you got to unhook him. So when you get hooked on certain drugs and stuff, and it's not about the different flavors. They try to camouflage it with the different flavors of the vaporing. But it's the nicotine that's in there. And you don't get, even when you take Nicoderm and Nicorettes, all any other thing, Chantec, what they're doing is giving you small amounts of nicotine. That stuff is they're giving you nicotine in a different form. So that they call themselves taking you off of it. But I want you to listen to me real good. When you get hooked on stuff like smoking, nicotine, drugs, there's a spirit that goes with it. That's why, notice this, when people start trying to use Chantix, you're operating against a spirit. And the drugs then make you feel suicidal. It make you feel depressed. And you got to do all that to quit the habit. And all you got to do is come to the altar and get saved and get filled with the Holy Ghost. Is that right, brother? That's it. All you got to do is come to the altar, get filled with the Holy Ghost. You delivered. You ain't got no more problems. No after effects, no hangovers. You don't have to have no Chantix. You don't have to have nothing. I'm talking about if you hooked on those Camels without a filter. If you're a Marlboro man, God can deliver you right down there. They're playing in people's mind. You're schizophrenic, bipolar. They give you all this medicine, but you got to make sure you're not taking this, you're not doing this, because it's going to mess you up.
That's it.
And you can't take it and drink alcohol. Boy, you're going to sure enough get lit up then. But all you got to do, your bipolar self, come on down to the altar, confess your sin, get filled with the Holy Ghost. And all that other person, Emily Rose or whoever it was, Jason, they all leave. See, people don't want to hear this. Well, Apostle, well, God put the doctors in. No, don't get me started. I hear what people saying, but ain't nowhere in the Bible God say he put a doctor nowhere. It ain't in the scripture. He tell the saints of God, he said, if it's any merry, let him sing song. If it's any afflicted, let him pray. If it's any sick, let him call for the elders of the church. Let him pray the prayer of faith over the anointing with oil, and the prayer of faith shall save the sick, and the Lord's going to raise them up. I don't fight doctor. You got to have somebody to go to if you don't have no faith.
Amen.
And doctors don't nobody get me wrong. Doctors do good things.
Amen.
I'm not taking that from them. But see, you can't put your hope in medicine. Y'all not know when we did the 7 churches of Asia, we brought out all the different junk that was way back there in Ephesus and some of those other cities.
Amen.
Don't y'all know medical science back then was about as good then as it is now? They were doing all kinds of surgeries and all kinds of stuff. They found people with perfect cut holes in their head, and they were making medicines and this and that. Because people they weren't stupid. When we were talking about Ezra and them, they gave them copper. They had the Iron Age, where people started developing wheels and chariots and all this kind of stuff way back in. Now, where did they get that technology from? What has been will be again. What is has been. So my point of I'm trying to get us before I get into this lesson, because see, if y'all ever notice something, some of these folks on Scyene and these other stations, you ain't never heard of them before, and now they've gotten special wardrobes, because some of them they own all, and they always got somebody that's a specialist. They got a panel. They all know all of it. And what do? Weed it up. Now y'all want to know where I'm going. I'm not finna go to work. This thing, the Lord said in the last days, it was going to be pestilence. It was going to be disease. Mothers was going to be fathers, sons were going to be against fathers. Daughters were going to be against mothers. Mothers and daughters they're going to fall out. This is where it's coming. People going to put some of us to death. Why do you think they're going to put you to death? They're going to put you to death because they don't like the way you look? No, they don't like your saved living. They don't like what you're saying. Well, people don't like what I'm saying. I know that. Some of y'all don't know. Back when we first came to this church, we had some visitors one service night. 3 people came. And I knew who they were. And they stood right in the congregation. They came to check me out. That's all right. I got something for you. God knows how to get your attention. In the book of St. Luke, 15th chapter, starting at verse 11. Y'all, I'm going to break this one down tonight. I'm going to try to twist. I'm going to do like Sister Rogers do those little crawfish. I'm going to twist them little bitty legs and get all the meat out of them I possibly can. Is that all right? It says, how many got it tonight? Y'all ready to go to work? I know you're not holding your arms folded without a Bible. But unfold your arms. You make me nervous with your arms folded. Praise Jesus. Yeah. Said a certain man had 2 sons, and the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of good that falleth to me. And he divided unto them his living. Now, they don't have nothing. They don't have nothing. They don't have a bed. They don't have a cup with the name on it. Nothing. They're staying at their daddy's house, and this boy, the younger, see, the inheritance always 2/3 of the inheritance goes to the oldest son. 1/3 of the inheritance goes to the youngest. This youngest boy, he want his. He want to step past his oldest brother because he's ready to get out of his daddy's house. Y'all stay with me. So the father didn't argue with him, and he gave it to him. Now I'm going to turn the curve. There's a nation called America. There's a place called the world that used to serve a true and living God. The church, the people decide they don't want to serve God anymore, so they want to go out. They want their stuff so they can go and do what they want to do. And you know what? God in a hole. God's not going to twist your arm. He's not going to make you live saved. He's going to let you have whatever. He's going to give you that choice so you can do what you want to do. So let's see what happened. And after the boy got his stuff, not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country. And when people want to get away from God, when people want to get away from the truth, they want to go somewhere as far as they possibly can. When people want to get away from the truth, they want to find another religion that sort of is similar to the one that they were going to, but they can do what they want to do. People don't want to, when people get ready to leave a church, they don't want to stay on a rigid preacher, one that's going to hold your feet to the fire. They want to go somewhere where a preacher will hit and miss and allow and just look the other way on something.
That's it.
So this boy went into a far country, so he got as far away. Listen what he did. He got as far away from the standards, the principles, the things that had been put in him. He didn't want to hear that. He didn't want to hear anything about living right. He didn't want to thou shalt not. He didn't want to hear anything about getting an education. He didn't want to hear anybody telling him you can't smoke dope and be saved. He didn't want nobody telling him you can't run with that person and be saved. That person is bad influence. So he wanted to get as far away as he possibly could. And there, watch this. Have you ever noticed something, how when people get wrong, when you get wrong, you lose the ability to think right. When you get wrong, wrong becomes a part of you, and then right leaves. It may not all happen at once, but when you leave the strictness of holiness, I promise you, and you get somewhere where they don't really hold your feet to the fire, you're going to start gravitating to some of them things you used to say was wrong. Your appetite's going to change. You find yourself going places, hanging with people you used to wouldn't hang with. You find yourself doing this and putting on stuff that you used to wouldn't put on. You don't find yourself as rigid as you used to be. Then you get that attitude, it don't take all of that. Pastor, you just too tricky. I see the light. Y'all gonna love me a light. I'm gonna say what I got to say tonight. I'm mad at the devil. I've known people that have stood for holiness for years. I knew a pastor after a year. If you want to know what holiness looked like, they were the standard. Then all of a sudden the Lord spoke to her and said, it's all right for a woman to wear pants. Then everybody in her congregation started changing. And she said, herself said, that the Lord opened her eyes. That's a dangerous thing. That's a dangerous thing for you to set a standard and then come back and say, the Lord opened your eyes. And this has been your message for years. I'm talking about when you go to the convention. If you want to know how to live, here's the example. And made everybody else feel like you need to come up to where we are. Oh, you know, amen. You ain't got to say nothing. I'm on the radio tonight. I'm just crazy. I'm just crazy. So this young man did his stuff. And notice what he did. He wasted his substance with rowdious living. Isn't this something how people, when they get away from strong teaching, they lose control? The brakes burn out. They don't have that ability to say, I'm not doing that. Little by little, let me tell you something. You can take water and let it drop on a rock, let it drop long enough, it'll make a hole in it. The only way you stay strong, you got to do the thing that's going to keep you strong. Evil communication corrupts good manners. Watch what happened. And when he had spent all, God know how to get us. Men would be lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God. Basketball players, football players, they don't count their money by the thousands anymore. They count their money by the millions. I'm not in it, but this contract that they offering Prescott, that ain't enough. I'm saying, Jesus, that ain't enough. $33 million, that ain't enough. They signed this guy, Amari Cooper. He's going to make $20 million a year. Now, I want y'all to just think about something for a minute. That's not but 12 months in a year. It ain't but 12 months in a year. So if he made $1 million a month, that would be $12 million. He's making an extra $8 million. Now, how do you spend $1 million? I mean, I know some of you sisters can buy a lot of stuff, but I think some of y'all would have a hard time spending $20 million in 1 year. Somebody say, well, I'm going to buy a house. Okay, you can just buy so many houses. You can't just live in so many houses. I'm going to buy a car, but you can just drive one car at a time. If you paid $1 million for a house and you pay $500,000 for a car, but I believe this guy, Mike Trout, they gave him 400 and some million over so many years. He played baseball. How do you spend that? So all these millionaires out there running around playing ball. You know what? I would just love to give one of you sisters $2 million and ask you to spend it in 1 week. I'll go a little better. I'd like to give one of you sisters $1 million and just tell you, spend it in 1 week. See what you got. I'm going to give it to you Monday morning, Friday evening. I want to see what you got left. 5 days. Oh, Pastor, you just don't know. I can roll with that. So here this boy got out there, and he got with the wrong crowd, and he spent his money. Now watch what happened. This is where the message come from. There arose a mighty, not a famine, but a mighty famine in the land. There arose a COVID-19. There arose a coronavirus in the land. God sent it. And a lot of people are getting ready to be in want. A lot of people getting ready to be in want because they're getting ready to lay people off. President, they're trying to pass a bill now. A household, every adult, they're going to give you $1,000. They're rolling back on evictions. You can't be evicted. You got 60 days before you can be evicted. It's tightening up. A lot of people, you got people with restaurants, they're shutting the restaurants down. People grabbing all this toilet tissue. You can't eat toilet tissue. I was at Kroger, a man, an elderly white gentleman, his wife, he was on a walking stick, and I came down the aisle, and he looked, he turned his wife, I said, sir, it's all gone. He said, yeah. He said, I sure hope they don't have to use all of that. Man, you stacking up toilet tissue. What's he going to do when you run out of beans? What's he going to do when you don't have any more ketchup? You don't have any more bread. You're out of rice. The milk is gone. You're going to eat toilet tissue. chew on paper towel. Wow. You see, but look at the panic. That's why they had all those guys up there at the academy lined up to buy ammunition. Because they're afraid now that when this happens, people are going to start breaking in their homes, and they got to protect their homes. So they ain't worried. You ain't hear them say nothing about no AK-47s or AR-15s, anything like that. There ain't nobody saying nothing about no assault rifles now. They buying the ammo. I'm just saying. People going to be afraid to leave their houses because they're afraid if I leave the house, I ain't worried about nobody coming there stealing my refrigerator. God. I mean, my microwave or my TV, you come back and the pantry is empty. Got all your bush beans and pinto beans and pork and beans and your tuna fish. They got everything. And got your toilet paper and your paper towel. But left the TV. We wouldn't even get your gun. We want something we can eat. Clean your freezer out. The door's wide open. God help us. People panicking. Notice this. A mighty famine came. What is this parable for? An earthly story with a heavenly meaning. God's trying to get our attention. God knows how to send what he needs to send to get people's attention. You can say what you want to say. There's a whole lot of folks thinking now. There's a lot of backsliders out there thinking now. There's a lot of people on the edge ready to get saved thinking now. Because see, the thing about it is, if you get the virus and you don't have the vaccine, you could be dead in a matter of days. You get the half cough, then you don't know. You're scared to go to sleep because you might have it. You know how to get your attention. He got America's attention. What I'm saying, they lying about a lot of stuff, but the virus is actually in the land. And the other side about it is they don't know enough about it to even say what's what. And they're spooking people. They spooking people. Do y'all remember back during the Vietnam War? Some of y'all probably don't go back that far. But during the Vietnam War, every day on the news, they would show how many soldiers got killed. But you know what? It was always more Vietnamese soldiers got killed than it was America. That's the lie. That's the propaganda that they put out there. So they're telling us now, we don't have hospitals. We don't have this. We don't have that. We can't do this. If you come in contact with people, you can get the virus. And if you get the virus, well, how is it transmitted? Say some is transmitted by touch, some is transmitted through the air. But all these places, isolated places where it's popping up in different cities, and a lot of the cases, people had no contact. But see, what God is doing, God is going to use this. Fear is a strong thing. Fear can make you do some crazy stuff. Fear, you won't even sleep good at night. Fear will have you seeing stuff that's not there. Fear will make you imagine things. And when we, see, this is the thing about being saved. We don't live in a taste not, touch not, handle not world. We're saved because when we're saved, we know what we can do. That's why we relax. I was talking to my brother this morning. We were talking about a young man down home, passed away. 50, I talked to his uncle today. He said tomorrow is his birthday. I believe he said he would have been 53. They had his name on a program as a pallbearer. And now he's dead. Before the funeral, he was going to be a pallbearer. A young man that had a stroke, a blood clot. Looked like he was coming out of it. All of a sudden, brain dead. And now they're preparing his funeral for Saturday. Don't you ever think it won't happen to you? He was doing fine. Had his own company, doing fine. Just like that. He's gone. God knows how to get your attention. When you see, the thing about it is now, with the way this thing is going, you hear so you really don't know. And that's what got people spooked, because they're hearing all this, but they really don't know. But what if it works like that? What if you're not saved and God been dealing with you about getting saved? And you go down to the grocery store and just rub up against somebody, and the person you rubbed up against, now you got it. Now to get saved, you got to ask God to save you. But what if God don't want you? See, you got to understand, you don't just come to God when you want to. You don't just do what you want to. And when I say, well, Jesus said, no man comes to me except the Father draw. If God ain't drawing, you ain't getting saved. Somebody say, I'm going to get saved after a while. After a while might be running out. The scriptures of the Lord said, my spirit will not always strive with mankind. So here this boy is now. He thought when he left, I got my goods, man, I'm loaded. I'm cash back. But then when he got out there and spent everything, then God sent a famine. A mighty famine. And when he sent a mighty famine, his little substance started disappearing. And then he got to the point like people are now. Now they're laying people off of jobs. Not that they did anything wrong, but they're laying them off a job. Now you can't work. When you can't work, what you do? You don't have money. If you don't have money, you can't buy. If you don't have money, when you've been going to the store buying this and buying, now you can't buy. When you've been just getting gas and driving all over town, now you can't get gas. Everything, your schedule starts changing. And then when your schedule starts changing, everything starts working psychologically. Then you feel in prison. You can't go anywhere. You're sitting at the house. You can't go to Papa Do's. You can't go to your favorite restaurant. After a while, you can't even go to Whataburger. Shut the doors on Whataburger. You can't even get a Whataburger. Now you got to take it and go to the house. And then you get to the house, you get at the house, you see the same folks at the house over and over. You ain't seeing nobody but him, and he ain't seeing nobody but you. Seeing them, school is out. Kids can't go to school. Man, almost need a cow. All the milk they're drinking. Go through a box of cereal in one setting. I ain't getting no help right now. They go in there and start making sandwiches, and a large loaf of bread is gone. And you just bought it. And that was just this morning. They have a meeting this evening. And you used to being in school, and when they're in school, it's leftovers in the refrigerator, and you can go get it. Now when they finish, it's like soldier ants came through. Look like they just the locusts. They devour everything. A mighty famine. Look what's happening to America. We got people now panicking. The stock market. They haven't closed the stock market down, but they took the people off the floor. So all them folk running down there, figuring and doing all this checking, they took them off the floor. Everything now is done electronically. Never happened, but it's happened now. United States Army. The United States Army now is the military is bringing in 2 hospital ships. One on the East Coast and one on the West Coast to try to help out. Because they're panicking. They're saying, well, if we're here today, that means because we're here today and we start testing, that means we're actually farther down the road than where we actually thought we are. So it make it look, you know what it make it look like? It make it look like this world is going to do like the Titanic, going to stand up on its end and start going down. But let me serve us some notice tonight. Man will not have the luxury of destroying this world. Amen. God is going to pay man back for what they did to his son. Scripture declare it. Yes. God's going to pay man back. God's going to have the last say. And he got all of this under control. But watch what happened. There was a famine in that land. Y'all see? And he began to be in want. Verse 15. And when he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country. That means you done gave up everything. You done left holiness. You done went to the Catholic, Baptist, First African, Methodist, Episcopalian, whatever. You just left holiness altogether. Woo, Jesus. You went to the community church, which is the same monkey, but he just got a different suit on. Because you didn't want to live saved. And you know what? Man has a tendency of thinking he can outrun God. Ask Jonah. See, people think they can get away from God. But let me tell you something. God knows where you are. And when he get ready to get you, he can get you anytime he wants you. And I'm going to say, if you notice tonight, I know people say, well, Pastor, you got to be careful. You don't want to hurt. Listen, don't nobody die except God say it's your time. And everybody that you've seen die from this virus, God said it was their time. When they were down in Egypt, every time Moses, Aaron would do something, Pharaoh's magicians would do the same thing. But when Aaron grabbed a handful of dirt and threw it in the air and it turned into lice and fly, Pharaoh's magicians said, we can't do that. This is the finger of God. Man does not have power. The devil does not have power over life and death. Can anybody hear me tonight? When he went after Job, the Lord told him, you can do what you want to, but don't touch his life. The devil can take you to the threshold of death, but he can't drag you across. When God say live, he means live. Just like the other night when we were talking about Balaam and Balaam. Balaam to let him know, how can I curse whom God has blessed? You don't have that authority. If God has blessed you, how the devil don't curse you? If God say live, how can a virus take over you and God say live? How can a virus enter your body and the Holy Ghost is in you? You better make sure you got it. You prayed up and anointed, even if he jump on you, he can't stay because the battle is too hot. Nobody hear what I'm saying tonight. Ain't no wrestling and tussling. No, it's a beat down. The fool made a mistake and jumped on you, thought he could take you. He didn't know you had all that power. Wasn't no bam, bam. No, it's right and left and right and left. Down goes Frazier. This is the mindset you got to have. The greatest he that's in me than he that's in the world. How many hear what I'm saying? You got to know. Paul said, I know in whom I believe. And I'm persuaded. I'm convinced that he's able to keep that I've committed unto him against that day. You got to know you saved. You got to know you got the power. Somebody thought it was all about shouting and hollering. That's when the Bible said, and ye shall receive power. After that, the Holy Ghost has come upon you. And then you're going to be witness. You're going to be able to tell somebody, yeah, the corona tried to grab me, but it couldn't stay. It couldn't stay. He tried to grab me from behind, but you have to get off of me. Get off of me. Woo. Don't go and join yourself to another country. Stay with holiness. Don't go and join yourself to another church. Stay with holiness. No matter what it look like, stay with holiness. Keep your testimony. Woo. Hey. Songwriter said, I shall not be moved. Just like a tree planted by the water, I shall not. I'm not rattled. I'm not shaken. I'm not perturbed by anything I hear or see. I'm not going to let what I see affect what I know. I know that my Redeemer liveth. How many know he live? How many know your Redeemer live? We don't serve a dead God. Our Redeemer live. The Lord told the children of Israel, and none of these diseases that I put upon the Egyptian shall come upon you. I believe God